This is the most bullish possible case for Bitcoin in this market cycle. What is the highest possible price that is actually realistic, that's based on math, that's based on the Fibonacci sequence? We're going to unveil it because take a look at this chart. 2013, Bitcoin rallied and reached this FIB level, the 2.36. That's a bona fide fact. The same thing actually happened in 2017. We reached that exact same FIB level. So where is that FIB level today? And is it possible that Bitcoin actually reaches it? Because we didn't reach it in 2021. And that same FIB level, if we did reach it in 2021, it would have been $250,000 Bitcoin. Obviously, we didn't reach it. However, the facts are here. 50% of the time, we have reached that FIB level. So let's dream a little bit. What would that look like if Bitcoin reached it in this cycle? And more importantly, when would it happen? I have given you the most bearish case for Bitcoin, that it wouldn't reach 100K. But this is the most bullish case. What is the absolute highest price in a realistic approach based on math that Bitcoin could reach? And there are distinct clues in the chart. Take a look. This red arrow, that's where Bitcoin is at right now, at this FIB level. We're going to look when we were at that exact same FIB level in 2021 because there are huge clues as to what happens next. We're going to take a look at 2017 when we were in that exact same FIB level and Bitcoin is leaving clues again, and we're going to compare it to 2013 at that FIB level. Once we do, we're going to uncover the facts and it's going to make it very, very clear. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give my honest take as to what are the chances that Bitcoin actually reaches the 2.36 level of the FIB. What are the actual chances? I'm going to give my honest opinion as well as when I think the most bullish case would be that we reach that level, as well as some huge hidden gems in the charts that can lead us on our path. You better be buckled up for this one. Let's get into it. Welcome. I'm Steve. Here we deliver honest, sponsorship-free TA with genuine value. Subscribe for a no BS approach that actually helps you. Subscribe. Now here we are, Bitcoin US dollar index, and we are on the monthly chart. And let's nerd out for a moment, shall we? We had this 2017 cycle in the 2021 and the 2024-25 broken down on our charts in the FIB level. But now that we got some new data on the chart, we have also broken down the 2013 and we remade this chart. So let's nerd out for a moment and you can see the distinct cycles that repeat time and time again for Bitcoin. And once again, I have given you the most bearish case for Bitcoin, that it won't reach 100K. I know that makes a lot of people angry and they wanted to know, okay, that's the most bearish case, but what is the most bullish case? Can you give us an honest take? And here we are, right? So we have FIB levels on our chart. How do we put them there? What do they mean? And what patterns are repeating consistently in every single cycle for Bitcoin? Well, first you go over here to the Fibonacci retracement. You're going to go from the swing high to the swing low, right? Which means you go from the previous highest price to the lowest price. You click once on the highest price, you drag to the lowest price, and then you let go. If you have your settings set up such like this, it will look exactly like my chart. My chart is on the log scale, and if you are on the log scale, you have this box checked here at the bottom. Tilt your phone to the side and subscribe. And if you have it set up like that, you will see on your chart precisely as you see here. But make sure you have the log scale on your chart. When you set it up, you're going to notice that every single cycle, the bottom of the market happens below the 0.38 on the FIB level. Key information, because everybody is wondering what's going to happen when we're at the bottom. It happens below the 0.38. 2017, bottom of the market, below the 0.38. 2021, bottom of the market, resistance at the 0.38. What happened in 2023? Same thing, bottom of the market, resistance at 0.38. Then we move into what's called phase one of the bull. That's when we move out of a bear market and we start moving into a bull run, right? When we do that, we start building what's called phase one. Phase one is built directly on top of the resistance of the bottom of the market. Case in point, 2013, phase one built directly on top of our resistance. 2017, phase one built directly on top of our resistance. 2021, phase one built directly on top of the resistance from the bottom of the market. So what was going to happen in this market? Well, bottom of the market was built here. Phase one was built directly on top. Exactly like clockwork to a T every single cycle. And by the way, when you're at the bottom of the market, everyone is always screaming that we're going to go a lot lower. You need to remain level-headed at that point, because when we were at 15, 16,000, even 17,000, we were screaming that the bottom was in, and 80% of the world was against us. They said to wait to buy at 10K, 9K, 8K, and we said this. Roll the clip. The charts that I studied and the charts that I've been studying for years and years and years are saying that the bottom is in, and your wake-up call is, even if the bottom is not in, is more risky to be out of Bitcoin right now than in Bitcoin, because there's a higher probability that the bottom is in. So if you're waiting for prices to dip below 10K, I don't think it's ever going to happen. So what you want to do is remain level-headed, go against the herd, and specifically go with the facts in the charts. So we had the bottom of the market, we moved into phase one. Now this is where things get interesting and they start heating up. Phase two in 2013 rallied directly to this FIB level. Again, if you have your charts set up like this, the FIB level is right here, the 0.78, this blue line that we see right on our chart. Phase two, every single time, rallies right to this blue line and has resistance. 2017 was no different. Phase two rallied directly to this FIB level and had resistance. 2021 was no different. Phase two rallied directly to this blue line and was met with resistance. So everyone was wondering, hey, what's going to happen in 2023, 2024? Well, phase two rallied directly to that FIB level and was met with resistance. Bitcoin is very predictable because human emotion is very predictable. Humans have always struggled with emotion when it comes to money, even back in the day when we're trading spices. Case in point, if you look at our previous all-time high, right? You remember the previous all-time high. Grandma Betty was calling you on the phone saying, grandson, you better be buying Bitcoin. This stuff is hot. And you're like, what? Grandma Betty's calling me? I better run for the hills. That's when you know we're at a market cycle top. When your friend who would never invest in Bitcoin calls you up and they're like, yeah, I got into Bitcoin. You run for the hills, right? That's how you know we're near a top. Or you can just look at the FIB levels, right? The FIB levels told us, hey, 2013, we reached this yellow line. 2017, we reached this yellow line. 2021, we didn't reach the yellow line. We got rejected right at our blue line, the 1.618, and we got rejected twice at exactly that level. That's called a double top. And you better believe Grandma Betty was calling you, telling you to invest in Bitcoin when we were at 69,000. Right? Grandma Betty gets a little crazy sometimes. So here we are today. We had this rally up to the blue line, right on schedule, phase two of the bull. What happens in phase three? Phase three is when the market really starts heating up. And that's when we break this blue level. Take a look. 2013, we break the blue level here. This was our breakthrough candle. This was our confirmation candle. In phase three of the bull is the same every single time. We flirt really, really hard with the all-time high, or we make an all-time high. That's precisely the identity of phase three. So phase three is a break of this blue line and resistance at the red line, right? The red line is right here, number one, which essentially is our previous all-time high resistance. Right? So you can see 2013, phase three happened right here. Why do we have this arrow here? That's exactly where we are right now. as we speak, as you're watching this video, we are in phase 3, and we're trying like hell to get to the next phase, because the next phase is the most explosive phase of the bull run so far, right? Every single time, take a look. 2013, we got rejected at this red line. That's phase 3. 2017 was no different. We broke through the blue line. Our breakthrough candle was December 1st, 2016. And then we had all of these candles have resistance at this red line, right on schedule. Phase 3, flirt real hard with the all-time high or make an all-time high. We just breached through an all-time high with a wick here. The next candle in April was our breakthrough candle, and the candle in May was our confirmation candle of phase 3. Phase 4 is where things go crazy. They go parabolic. 2021 was no different. Phase 3 happened right when we broke this blue line, and then we got resistance from this red line right on schedule, right on cue. Every single time we get resistance at this red line. Every single FIB level, you can see it's clear resistance every single step of the way. But yet, every single cycle, everyone screams, this time is different. It's never different. We do the same exact moves time and time again like clockwork. The Fibonacci sequence can be used in all sorts of things in life. Literally, Google it. It's incredible. So we're basing this entire video on one of the most strongest mathematical sequences in human history that's found in evidence all over the world in everything that we do, not just in trading. I rest my case. Take a look right here. So we get to this red line in 2013, resistance. We get there in 2017, resistance. We get there in 2021, resistance. What did we think was going to happen this time? We got to this red line and we're met with resistance. Literally, as you're watching this video right now, if you pull up the chart, you draw this fib level, as we speak right now, we're having resistance at this exact point. That's not by accident. We've done it every single time in every single cycle that Bitcoin has ever had in its entire history. So what happens next? What happens next is the most parabolic phase. This phase goes crazy, right? Grandma Betty still doesn't even know about this phase. She only wakes up when we're at the top, right? So phase 4 happens when we break this fib level, right? We broke it right here, and this is the most parabolic part of the bull run to date, meaning we had the bottom of the market, not very parabolic. Phase 1, not very parabolic, build structure. Phase 2, not very parabolic. We get up to this blue line, build further structure. Phase 3, a little bit exciting. We flirt real hard with the previous all-time high, or we make a new all-time high. Fairly exciting. Phase 4 is explosive. Phase 4 is something that takes the world by storm, and Bitcoin starts being all over the news worldwide, and people that you never thought would know Bitcoin or understand Bitcoin are calling you and telling you about Bitcoin. This is when altcoins explode. This is when the market explodes. This is when things go parabolic. And when does it happen? When we break this red line, right? 2013, you can see we went from about $32 all the way up to $268, right? To put that in perspective, phase 2, we went from about $8 to $15. We just kind of doubled in price. We definitely didn't double back here. We went from 32 up to 268. 2017 was no different. As soon as we broke out into phase 4, it was precisely April 2017. That was our breakthrough candle. Our confirmation candle was in May, and we went from about $1,200 all the way up to $4,358, right? Explosive moves in phase 4. 2021 was no different. As soon as we broke out of phase 3 into phase 4, that's when Bitcoin went from just under 20,000 all the way up to $69,000 Bitcoin, right? Huge move. The biggest move of our past cycle was clearly phase 4, simply because we didn't have a phase 5, right? Phase 5 is when you break this blue line and you get up to the yellow line, which we have done 50% of the time. If you look at all of the cycles in front of us, we are clearly in cycle 4. That's not up for debate. This is factual evidence. What is also factual evidence is that 2 times we have reached this yellow line. Factual evidence we cannot debate. Now, again, this is based on the Fibonacci sequence. As soon as you break one line of resistance, you are met with the next line of resistance. So if Bitcoin were to repeat these patterns, we would get up to this yellow line. So what is this yellow line at? Tilt your phone to the side and subscribe. In what time frame would we get there in, right? Would we get there in early or middle of 2024, or maybe late 2024? Or would we get there in 2025? Is it even possible that the bull run lasts until 2025, or how far into 2025? What is the best case scenario for the length of time of this bull run? Because you're probably looking at altcoins, you're probably looking at your crypto portfolio thinking, man, is this bull run like close to over, or is this thing just getting started? In this video, I'm going to give you the most bullish case, right? I've already given you the most bearish case with the 5.3 theory. So if your question is, hey, do you still believe in the 5.3 theory? What's with this video making the most bullish case? This is a channel based on factual evidence. Plain and simple. I don't tell you what you want to hear. I give you the facts, right? I presented the most bearish case, and it's only fair for me to present the other side of the coin. You guys all know where I stand. You all know I love the 5.3 theory until it's proven otherwise. And you all know we're not predicting a price in Bitcoin's top and just kind of guessing. What we're doing instead is we're looking at about 7 to 8 charts that are going to indicate when we're near a top, and we're looking for confluence in those. We're not going to close our eyes and pick a price. But in this video is the most bullish case. We can clearly see that we reached this yellow line 50% of the time. That's a bona fide fact. So it would be in our best interest to understand what the hell this yellow line is, and is it even possible we get there? And as I said, there are some hidden clues in the charts, specifically where we have these arrows. I don't know if you noticed this yet, but where we have these arrows time and time again, there's a hidden clue. I want you to try to look for it right now as we start to explain this next phase. If Bitcoin were to break this red line, we would move into phase 4. We saw phase 4 in 2021, and clearly we saw it in 2013 and 2017. So if Bitcoin were to get into phase 4, what would happen? Well, that would be the most explosive part of the move, and we would go from a price of around where we are now, right, just below 70K, all the way up to where here, which is about 175,000. Now keep in mind, that's where we reached in 2021. We also reached there in 2013 and 2017 and continued into phase 5. 2021 did not see phase 5. We stopped at phase 4. So if Bitcoin were to do the same as 2021, we would get to $175,000 Bitcoin, because we would be topped out at this blue line, which would act as our resistance, which it acted as our resistance in our double top in 2021. So if we were to reach there in this cycle and get to $175,000 Bitcoin, and we move into phase 5 of the market, which is even more explosive than phase 4, where would that get to? And more importantly, when would that sort of happen, right? So we've got 2 big questions on the table. I would put another one in there, the price of Bitcoin, right? So we're going to cover what is the actual most bullish possible price based on the FIB, the 2.36, which I hope you have taken this information, you've drawn it on your chart, right? And if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. In the next video, I'm going to be giving you altcoin season, when I think it's going to happen. And I have a lot to unpack. You're definitely going to want to watch that, so hit the subscribe button. Now, here we are. 2024, the market's on fire. We're flirting real hard with the all-time high, and then we made an all-time high, and we're in phase 3, right on schedule. Phase 3 is all about flirting hard with the all-time high and potentially making an all-time high. We've done both. We've checked that off. Now we're getting ready to potentially move into phase 4, the most explosive move, which could bring us up to $175,000 Bitcoin. But what if Bitcoin reaches phase 5? What is the likelihood? So I want to cover the price, and at the end of the video, I'm going to give you what I think is likely, right? And then we're going to talk about the time frame. Let's talk about the time frame first. This is the most bullish time frame for Bitcoin, and there is a distinct pattern in the chart just based on pure bona fide facts, right? So there's a lot of thought about, okay, Bitcoin might top here, it might top there. Again, we will look at charts and confluence, but I want to give you some basic facts that I see right in front of us. For example, 2013, when did it top? It topped right here. Bona fide fact, November 2013. When you look at when did 2017 top? Well, 2017 topped at December 2017. In other words, about 4 years later at the end of the year, right? We topped at the end of the year in 2013, and then 4 years later, we topped at the end of the year in 2017. And then 4 years later, we saw the highest price at the end of the year in 2021. Right? So if we're being honest, based on the facts, what is the best case scenario? It's that Bitcoin tops 4 years later at the end of the year, precisely as it's done every single time so far. 2013 topped at the end of the year. 4 years later, topped at the end of the year in 2017. 4 years later, topped at the end of the year in 2021. So in all likelihood, the best case scenario for Bitcoin to top would be the end of the year 4 years later, which brings us to 2025, end of the year. That would be the best case scenario for Bitcoin of when its latest top would be. But let's get to some clues in the charts, specifically around where this red arrow is. When you look at it, you can understand, okay, 2013, explosive. 2017, explosive. 2021, not as explosive. But is there a pattern? Is there a pattern relative to these three and where we are now? Here's what I want to show you. If you go from the bottom of the market up to this red arrow in 2013, let's take a look at what that gets us in terms of a price move. About 1,500%, meaning from the bottom of the market here up to this red line, Bitcoin went 1,500%. Why do we care about this red line? That's exactly where Bitcoin is at the moment. So we need to take all of the data and clues and use that as evidence to understand what Bitcoin could potentially do. We need to look for confluence, for patterns, right? So we have a bona fide fact about 1,500% move from the bottom to this red line in 2013. We fast forward 2017, bottom of the market right here. And we're going to look at what the percentage move was up to this red line. Oh, 700%. So just facts. We went from 1,500% to about 700%. In simple terms, we'll say that's roughly half, right? So Bitcoin went roughly half the amount that it did in 2013 in 2017. Keep in mind, it still reached that same FIB level each time. What happened in 2021? We go from the bottom of the market, we go up to this red line, and it's about 575%, right? So if we were at 700% before, we're roughly 20% less in 2021. In other words, from 2013 to 2017 was about half the power of the move thus far in the market cycle was 2017. And then we went even further down. We went 20% down from that in the next cycle. So just the facts so far, that's what we're uncovering. Now we look at where we are today. Let's go from the bottom of our market, which is about right here, up to this red line. We're looking at about 350. In other words, we had 1,500 in this one. We had 700 in this one. We had about 550 in this one. Then we went to 350. These are just the facts, right? From the bottom of our market up to this red line. We're at the red line right now. It's the same in every single cycle. It represents phase 3 here, phase 3 here, phase 3 here, and phase 3 here. So if we're taking in this evidence, we're going to use this for me to explain the likelihood that we reach this yellow line. We've got to use facts, right? So we've clearly went down from this 550, we clearly went down another 20, 25%, right? So we've been going down every single cycle. Fact. Now let's unveil it, right? Let's unveil this price, the moment you have all been waiting for. We're going to unveil the price, and then I'm going to explain the likelihood that I think that this will happen. Now, keep in mind, our next video is going to be about altcoin season and when we anticipate that to happen, and we're going to base that on the facts, so make sure you hit the subscribe button for that. So let's unveil it. What you can do in the charts is you can click on your FIB level, and you can scroll down to where it says prices. And if you click prices, it will have the prices. If you remove prices, it will just have the FIB level without the prices. But we will put on the prices so you can see. We talked about this blue line, about 175,000. But if Bitcoin were to reach all the way up to this yellow level, like it's done in 2 cycles or 50% of the time, if Bitcoin were to do that, it would get up to $540,000 Bitcoin. Just dream for a moment what that would be like if Bitcoin were to go from where it is now up to 540,000. Now that's the best case scenario. We can say that based on facts. It's never gone above this FIB level. And I know everybody says, oh, this time is different. This time is never different. It always does the same things every single cycle. So can Bitcoin go above here? It wouldn't be realistic. It would not be realistic to see any price of 540,000 or over. It's just not realistic. It's never done that before. And we certainly don't have any facts in the charts that are explaining that Bitcoin is more bullish in this cycle than others. We clearly have facts that are saying Bitcoin is less bullish, in fact, by a significant margin in every single cycle, just based on the bona fide facts. We covered it, 1,500% to this blue line, then 700%, then 550, and then 350. We're only 350% off the bottom. When we were in phase 3 in 2013, we were 1,500% off the bottom, and we reached this level. So, in other words, 550 is the absolute most bullish case based on the facts. But the million-dollar question is, how likely is it? Well, here's what I'll say. Bitcoin has done it 2 other times, so it would be injustice to Bitcoin. We would not be doing our due diligence if we said it wasn't a possibility. Anything is possible with Bitcoin, especially if we've done that exact thing 2 other times or 50% of the time. So we have to give Bitcoin credit that it is a possibility. We would be lying to ourselves if we were saying there is no chance. In trading and investing, nothing is a certainty. Anytime you listen to anybody and something is a certainty, that's when you should get nervous, especially if it's coming from the herd, from the high majority of people. Usually they chant things like a certainty. For example, $100,000 Bitcoin is a certainty in their mind, which makes me very nervous that Bitcoin won't reach 100K, just based on the facts in my 5.3 theory. You can watch those videos. We will attach them here. But in this case, we have to remain open-minded that it is a possibility that we reach 540K. But what are the chances? I would say the chances are low. Based on facts in the charts, based on how we have illustrated that every single cycle is getting weaker and weaker, we didn't reach it last cycle. I don't believe it's likely that we reach it this cycle, although it is a possibility. Hit that subscribe button. I'll see you right back here in the next video. Do you want less stress and more success in crypto? Click this video right now.